Hola amigos y amigas, you are now with Jocelyn y como siempre as always, I'm so grateful you are here bringing me into your present moment. So thank you for being here, and also thank you for looking into a video like this. That's so beautiful of you to be practicing mindfulness. I have been looking forward to creating and sharing this video for a while now, as smudging or saging, burning sage, has already become so popular. And it is so important that as spirituality rises to the mainstream progressively and unfortunately becomes capitalized, that we are acknowledging the accountability and responsibility that we do have of honoring and respecting where these spiritual practices and tools and knowledge come from, right? It is important that we take the time to really become consciously aware of the spiritual practices and tools that we are leaning into and choosing to integrate into our own lives, and that we're actually knowing what we're doing when we are using them, right? We're not just out here burning sage, we actually know what is taking place when we are burning the sacred medicine. And so for me personally, smudging has grown dear and near and dear to my heart, and has taken up more space in my spiritual foundation as I have been more intentional about connecting with my ancestors and ancestral healing. And, smudging being native and indigenous to my people, to where I come from and who I come from, has really been a way for me to connect further with my ancestors. So it's been a really beautiful practice for me that I do often. So I'm excited to walk you through my own personal smudging ceremony and show you how I do it step by step. And at the end of the video, I'll share a bit more conscious awareness with you about this ceremony and about this practice. So I hope that you enjoy this video and that you take away something that is valuable to you. Smudging for centuries has been used by First Nation and Indigenous people all over the world as a means of cleansing the mind, body, and spirit, and also tuning into spirit, connecting with spirit. And so, because it is a form of cleansing and tuning into spirit, we're also purifying, through the smoke of the sacred medicine. We're also purifying the space of which we are smudging. And that can either be the physical space that you're in, or it can also be, simply the space of your auric field. And because the essence of it is cleansing, we're also purifying again, the negative energies that may be taking up space. So it really is such a useful practice that is worth honoring and gaining conscious awareness of. So again, I've been really excited to create and share this video with you, and I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's get into this smudging ceremony. Before I actually begin my smudging ceremony, I like to personally tidy up and reorganize the space of which I'm going to be smudging. And through these actions, you're already setting the intention that you are going to be cleansing your space, and you are making space, literally, physically, by tidying up, by organizing, and by assisting the sacred medicines that will be assisting you energetically. You are assisting it by cleansing physically. So this is something that I personally love to do, and you can really feel the difference when you actually take the time to do this before your smudging ceremony. So if you are intending to really do a deep intentional cleanse, then I highly recommend doing this. Another aspect that I make sure to do before I begin my smudging ceremony is opening the windows, and you can open your doors as well. But what we are essentially doing here is creating an open pathway, a gateway for the energies that we are smudging from our space, from our being, to be fully released, to be redirected from indoors to out into Mother Nature. So, in opening the windows and opening our doors, we are really just creating more ease in the exit of these energies. Now that we have tidied up and reorganized the space of which we are going to be smudging and have opened up the windows again with the intention to fully redirect the energies we are smudging and cleansing from our space and out into Mother Earth, we're ready to go ahead and grab our tools. All you essentially need are your sacred medicines and your tool that's going to assist you in burning that medicine. So either a lighter or a matchbox. Personally, I like using matchsticks because lighters do contain chemicals that can contaminate your sacred medicines. So if you have a matchbox, definitely recommend using that instead. And in this particular ceremony, I'm going to be smudging with sage as well as rosemary. This is a bundle that I'm currently offering on my online shop. I also have some remnants of sweetgrass in here that I love, so I'll probably burn a bit of this as well. An extra tool that you can bring into your ceremony is an abalone shell. This isn't necessary, this is optional, but I do love my abalone shell because when you bring in a shell, you are incorporating all the four elements. The shell is representing the water element, your medicine is representing the earth element, your lighter or matchsticks will be representing the fire element, of course, and then the smoke is representing the air element. So that's just very beautiful to me. And also, having an abalone shell just assists in making sure that you don't accidentally burn yourself. I've definitely accidentally burned myself with sage specifically because sage is very flaky and it just smokes very easily. And so having an abalone shell just allows the medicines to rest in there and smoke with ease. And also, the feather is optional. The feather assists in just directing the smoke, but you can also just use your hands. So those two are optional. I personally love having them, but without further ado, let's go ahead and begin burning this sacred medicine. As I begin to light my sacred medicine, this is where I like to begin to really speak and affirm my intentions as to why I'm stepping into this smudging ceremony. And really, I am setting and affirming my intentions throughout the rest of the ceremony from here on. So we're going to go ahead and light our sacred medicine with gratitude. And we're not going to blow on it or anything like that. Just going to allow it to smoke naturally without intervening. We can use the feather or our hand. And we're going to go ahead and cleanse our feather if we're using a feather, and cleanse our hands, because that is what is going to be assisting us in this smudging ceremony. We have to acknowledge that we are the guide, we are the conductor, and it is important to cleanse ourselves first and foremost before cleansing the space or the people around us. So we're going to go ahead and cleanse our head to only think good thoughts, sacred thoughts, our eyes so that we may only see the goodness, and have sacred, clear vision. Our mouth, our words, so that we may only speak sacred, good words. Our hearts, so that we may feel the goodness and the sacredness and have a pure heart. We may also do our ears, cleanse our ears, so that we may only hear and be able to hear the goodness. Then you can go ahead and smudge the rest of your body. I like to do my hair, as my hair contains the DNA of my ancestors, my history. It's also part of my identity. You can cleanse your feet so that you may honor Mother Earth. And you can spend as much time here cleansing yourself as you feel called before you go ahead and continue to smudge the room, the space, the people, whatever it is that you are intending to smudge. Now that we have finished smudging ourselves, we're ready to begin smudging our space if that is our intention for this ceremony. Personally, I love to speak words of affirmation and prayer as I am smudging, and really just speaking from the heart, either out loud or quietly in my mind. I am just setting my intentions, whether I am calling in certain energies or calling out certain energies or both. I'm just being very mindful of the energy and the thoughts that I am upholding and emitting as I am smudging. Again, because we are intentionally redirecting the energies from the indoors to out into the hands of Mother Earth, I am making sure to direct the smoke towards the windows. And something to be aware of is that energy tends to accumulate in the corners of our rooms. And also, when I think of stagnant or built up or dense low vibrational energy, I think of being weighed down. So I like to make sure that I'm smudging in the corners of the rooms as well as getting down below. Lastly, it is said that if we are calling in certain energies, that we move in a clockwise fashion. And if we are calling out certain energies, we move in a counterclockwise fashion. So this is just something to be mindful and aware of as you are smudging. Now that we have finished smudging ourselves and smudging our space, and smudging those who are a part of our smudging ceremony, if we have other people a part of our ceremony, then we're ready to bring it to a close, either with a prayer or expression of gratitude, or however it is that you feel called to bring the ceremony to a close. If you have some leftover medicine that you'd like to dispose of, personally, I just like giving it back to Mother Earth. So I'll go outside and go wherever it is that I feel called to return these medicines to her, whether it's by a tree or some wildflowers or a patch of grass, wherever it is that I feel called to just return them to her and thank her for gifting these sacred medicines to us and allowing us to use her nature as a form of healing and uplifting ourselves. There are a couple other tidbits of information and knowledge that I've learned that I'd like to share with you if you are interested and open to receiving. If you are utilizing an abalone shell in your smudging, you want to have this open side. If you notice, there's kind of like this heightened closed side of the shell, and then it opens up down here. You want to have the open side facing outward as you're smudging your space and smudging others. Another awareness that I really, really appreciate is the fact that all medicines, all plants have different energies within them. And they all can assist us in different ways. The four sacred medicines that are the core of our smudging practice are sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and tobacco. Personally, I haven't smudged with tobacco yet. I haven't incorporated tobacco into my spiritual practice yet, though I know that I will soon, as I know that my ancestors will enjoy that as an offering on our altar. But here, I actually have sage, cedar, and sweetgrass with me. And I want to share a bit about each of them with you. So, sage is a very, well, I wouldn't say very, but it's a masculine energy. And the way that I like to see sage is like that divine masculine energy that's taking initiative to cleanse you and cleanse your space and is very confident in doing so. It is here to assist you, and it is here to lift you up and be there for you and support you in purifying you and your space and getting rid of negative or unwanted energies. So I love sage so much, and it is the most popularly used, and I do use it the most as well. We have here some cedar, and cedar is very, very healing. It is a balance of masculine and feminine, but a lot of medicine women and men will use cedar in a multitude of ways, just like with all other plants. But cedar is very, very powerful in healing, and it is a giver of life, and it smells so good. But you can soak cedar and create a cedar bath whenever it is that you feel like your body needs some healing, or you can use the smoke itself and, direct the smoke wherever it is that you feel you need some healing in your body. So cedar I like to see as just like the healer, right? These are all very healing, but cedar is intended to give life and to heal and really be miraculous. There are some miracle stories with cedar. And then sweetgrass is undoubtedly one of my favorite scents in the wholest, whitest, worldest. It smells so good. The first time I smelled sweetgrass, I was like, Mother Earth, you did your thing with sweetgrass. It smells so divine. And sweetgrass is a feminine energy. Sweetgrass is seen as the hair of Mother Earth. And when you think of feminine energy, you just think of like, comfort, you think of motherliness, you think of, being nurtured, you think of being uplifted. And so when you burn sweetgrass, it doesn't burn like sage where there's like a lot of smoke just kind of continuously coming up and burning naturally. Sweetgrass is like kind of like an instant kind of smoke. It'll like burn for a couple seconds and just kind of go out, and you just kind of flicker it, but you definitely smell it. And it just smells so divine, and it just is a mood uplifter, a vibe uplifter. So if you want to vibrate higher, if you want to feel comforted, if you want that divine feminine energy, I definitely recommend incorporating sweetgrass into your practice, into your smudging. And so just being aware of the different energies that these medicines carry is very useful. It really takes your smudging and your awareness and just your overall spiritual practice to another level. When is the best time to smudge? Honestly, there's not necessarily a best time to smudge. The way that I approach smudging and really all my spiritual practices is by conducting them and practicing them whenever it is that I intuitively feel called. But because smudging is very cleansing, smudge whenever you feel the need to be cleansed, whenever you feel called to call in spirit and tune into spirit and welcome spirit into your life, into your space. And, I know people that do it every single day. I definitely have smudged before important conversations, before interviews, before going into work. So whenever it is that you feel called, there is not necessarily a wrong time or a not so good time to smudge. What to do after you finish smudging? Again, whatever it is that you feel called, take advantage of the fact that you just had a beautiful ceremony and you and your space are cleansed. So I personally like to really embrace that by doing something that is nourishing to me, whether it's journaling or dancing or cooking a really good meal or taking a really nice bath and then having a really good sleep after that, or anything that is just very nourishing to you and just really an expression of gratitude of just the beautiful ceremony that you just had. I feel like there are a couple other things that I really wanted to share with you all, but I feel like I've shared enough, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you gained something from it that you really appreciate and honor and value, and that really uplift you in your smudging, in your ceremonies, and just your overall spiritual practice. My elders will say that there's really no right or wrong way to smudge. But for me, I just feel like, again, it's just so important that we step into these spiritual tools and practices and traditions with the responsibility and the accountability that we have to respect them and where they come from and who they come from, and know that it really is such an honor to partake in these traditions. I feel so honored every single time that I smudge. I feel so grateful. And it just feels so good to step into these tools and these practices and just your overall spirituality with knowledge and awareness and confidence that you know what you're doing, you know what is taking place, and you are coming into it with intention and mindfulness and conscious awareness. So thank you all again so much for watching a video like this and investing in being more mindful. I really, really appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. I'm wishing you all the most beautiful smudging ceremonies, and peace and blessings. Bye.